Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to dive into today's topic with you because we are taking a cinematic journey way back in time. 66 million years ago, to be exact. We're going to witness, step by step, the absolute greatest catastrophe in our planet's history. We'll look at the evidence, unpack the data, and see exactly how the day Earth changed forever actually went down. So, what really killed the dinosaurs? It's kind of the ultimate mystery, isn't it? For the longest time, scientists were totally baffled by it. But as you'll see, the real answer is this dramatic, almost unbelievable combination of astronomical bad luck and earthly vulnerability. Section 1. Rulers of Ancient Earth. Now, to really grasp how it all ended, we first got to understand the beginning. Let's just transport ourselves back to a lush, incredibly warm Earth. This was a world totally unlike anything we know today. We're talking towering forests, the very first blooming flowers, and these vast, beautiful inland seas. And ruling over almost every single corner of this planet were the giant reptiles, totally dominating both the land and the dark depths of the ancient oceans. And their reign, it lasted an astonishing 160 million years. I mean, just think about the sheer, staggering scale of that. To put it into perspective, they survived continents literally breaking apart and shifting, massive climate changes, and countless natural disasters for an unimaginably long time. They were so perfectly adapted to their environment that by all accounts, they were completely invincible. It honestly seemed like absolutely nothing could ever challenge their rule. Section 2. The Unseen Celestial Threat. But while the dinosaurs were thriving and just living their best lives down below, this looming, totally invisible threat was building up millions of miles away in the absolute pitch-black darkness of space. Far beyond the orbit of Mars, deep out in the asteroid belt, a frozen rocky relic was just drifting silently. And it was huge. It measured an estimated 10 kilometers, or about 6 miles across. This massive rock was essentially a leftover piece of rubble from the very birth of our solar system, formed over 4.5 billion years ago. And it had just been drifting out there, totally peacefully, for eons. But then, a powerful gravitational disturbance changed the whole shebang. Maybe it collided with another asteroid, or maybe it got pulled by the immense gravity of a giant planet like Jupiter. Whatever it was, that single cosmic bump knocked this massive mountain of rock right out of its stable orbit. And once its path shifted, there was zero turning back. It was locked onto a relentless course straight toward the inner solar system, traveling through the void for centuries. The crazy part? The dinosaurs were quite literally doomed long before the asteroid even showed up in the sky. Section 3. The Catastrophic Impact. Day after day, year after year, the asteroid just kept racing closer. Until, finally, Earth was right in its crosshairs. On what probably felt like a totally ordinary, peaceful Tuesday in the Cretaceous period, everything changed in a flash. The asteroid slammed into Earth's atmosphere at a terrifying speed of more than 70,000 kilometers per hour. Seriously, just let that velocity sink in for a second. The immense friction instantly heated the rock, creating this blazing fireball in the sky that was actually brighter than the sun. It was an incredibly abrupt and violent climax to a really peaceful era. When this thing finally struck the shallow sea near what is now the Yucatan Peninsula down in Mexico, it released an amount of energy equivalent to billions of nuclear bombs going off all at exactly the same time. Billions. It's a mountain-destroying level of force that is honestly hard for the human brain to even comprehend. Solid rock, deep seawater, and the asteroid itself were literally vaporized in the blink of an eye. Let's break down that timeline, because it's wild. Within seconds of the impact, that blazing fireball vaporized the ocean and rock around it. In the hours that followed, a colossal shockwave flattened entire forests, carving out a massive crater 180 kilometers wide. Tsunamis hundreds of meters high crashed into coastlines all over the world, and all that molten rock rained back down, igniting massive global infernos. But as horrific as that single day was, it was the months and years that followed that brought on a slow, agonizing global winter. Section 4. A World in Darkness. See, the explosion itself was absolutely devastating, but the grueling aftermath is what truly sealed the dinosaurs' fate. The world literally went dark. And this triggered a total ecosystem collapse, kind of like a giant tragic house of cards. First, you had massive amounts of dust, ash, and sulfur forming this incredibly thick blanket in the atmosphere, totally blocking out the sun. Second, without any sunlight, photosynthesis basically ground to a halt, causing plant life to wither and die. Third, that triggered a domino effect. The massive herbivores starved to death, and they were followed very quickly by the mighty predators that relied on them for food. And finally, you had acid rain produced by the impact's gases, poisoning lakes and rivers. It was, quite simply, global starvation. Section 5. The geological evidence. Now, you might be asking, okay, how do we actually know all of this happened? For decades, scientists went back and forth debating the true cause. Was it an asteroid or was it extreme volcanic activity? Well, the current scientific consensus is that it was actually a deadly 1-2 punch of both. Over in India, the Deccan traps were unleashing these massive volcanic eruptions, gradually pumping out lava and gases that totally destabilized the climate and stressed out the ecosystems for hundreds of thousands of years. Then, boom, the Chicxulub asteroid impact in Mexico comes in and acts as the final devastating blow. It's a really fascinating look at how prolonged environmental stress, combined with a sudden catastrophic shock, can create a true mass extinction. And the physical clues left behind all over the globe to prove this? Absolutely staggering. Scientists found this distinct, super thin layer of rock dating back exactly to the extinction, and it's packed with iridium, which is a rare element here on Earth, but super common in asteroids. They also found tiny glass beads made from molten rock, microscopic diamonds that only form under extreme pressure, and shocked quartz crystals that literally only exist after unimaginably powerful impacts. And ultimately, they found the ultimate smoking gun, the 180-kilometer Chicxulub crater buried deep beneath the Yucatan Peninsula. Piece by piece, the Earth itself confirmed the terrifying reality of this event. Section 6. How Life Found a Way. Now, I know this is a super dark story, but it is not the end of the story. The sheer magnitude of the extinction is hard to wrap your head around for sure. The asteroid and its brutal aftermath wiped out nearly 75% of all life on the planet. But you see that slender 25% of surviving life? That is exactly why we're able to have this conversation today. So who were they? Who actually survived the apocalypse? Well, they were small, highly adaptable creatures. We're talking small mammals hiding away in underground burrows, completely sheltered from the intense inferno up on the surface. You had turtles and crocodilians weathering the storm in rivers and wetlands. Insects finding a way to sustain themselves just on decaying matter. And, get this, remarkably one very specific group of feathered dinosaurs actually managed to endure. They're the direct ancestors of every single modern bird you see flying around today. Over millions of years, these resilient little survivors stepped out into those empty ecosystems, evolved, and diversified into the world we know now. So in a way, the extinction of the dinosaurs was really just the beginning of our era. Think about it. Had that asteroid missed Earth by only a few minutes, if the planet had just rotated a tiny bit further, the age of dinosaurs might have continued indefinitely, and humans may never have even existed. Our very existence relies entirely on the astonishing fragility and the ultimate resilience of life on this planet. Which really leaves us with one pretty terrifying question to ponder. When is the next rock gonna fall? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope you found it as fascinating as I do.